You should be welcoming.
But that doesn't happen.
No,
so why doesn't that happen? So that's what needs to be seen, because these are the people that have the flaw.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the behind the scenes of and they're so corrupt, it's just
Hey, tell me that this don't come down to you one of the few people I can tell you they can come here and hijack my Saturday watching football and have a deep conversation.
No, we're gonna be done.
Hey, I know. And have a conversation.
I know.
So take another compliment. Now you made me think
can't question it, but I question yourself, man. Especially when it's, and that's the thing. If I'd be okay if we were on a different path, and it'd be like, all right, I'll just sit back and not say nothing. You know, what I do care about is not doing something, especially when I see something that can be done. And it doesn't matter if anyone else does anything or sees it. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take it all the way there. They don't know. They're just regurgitating what they've been taught. You get ordained. Ordained is this is the doctrine. You can write this off, just like a degree. Regurgitate. You may not know nothing. Oh, I can read this scripture. What does it mean? What is the back? Where did that scripture come from? Where is the book? Oh, you don't know. You just, this is it. I'm ordained. I can read off this script. You don't even know who gave you the script. Does the script benefit us? Is it our script? Did we come here with any type of Bible? If you believe we came over here on slave ships, I was talking to my family. Did we come here with a Bible? No, we didn't come here with a Bible. We took our language and all this. Okay. So we didn't come here with any books. No, we didn't come here with any books. Okay. So somebody gave us this book, right? Yeah, who gave us this book? Okay. The same person that's beating you, enslaving you, and raping you, and doing this stuff, is going to teach you about heaven and all of this stuff. You don't want to question that? So you're interested in my spiritual freedom, but you're enslaving me physically. Don't add up. And then when you start looking into the backstory, you really start looking into the paper trail. Everything that's on paper has a paper trail. We don't look at that crap. We just look at the paper. What the books say. That's my granddad. What the books say. And when I talked to him, like, all right, did you know that there are books that weren't included in this? And there's people that make decisions on what's in here and what's not. I understand what the book says, but do you know, and it's not, they don't even want to hear about it. And these are our elders teaching us. And then the younger generation sees this. They see that you don't know what you're talking about. A lot of people are hypocritical. You're going to say one thing and do another. You're going to sin 6 days a week and go to church. And half the people in Nashville that were drunk Saturday, I bet you they went in church Sunday. Right? Rinse and repeat. There's no, how are you evolving with that? Where's your accountability for your actions? I don't need Jesus. Someone else is going to do it for me. Okay. We've been waiting for that for a couple thousand years. We don't got a couple thousand more. So Jesus is coming, cool. Hey, I'm right with you, big dog. But in the meantime, is there stuff we can do? Can we help him out?
Watch this, Mike. I'm really man for authority.
No.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
No, I love everything you're saying. And I agree with it. I've done a lot of same things, whatever, looked at yourself and whatever. And this question would be more of a question too, like, so I think I know the answer and how you feel about it. You said if we're all gods, whatever, then we're not, then that person has no more authority and that person has no more ownership in anything else, from that standpoint. So so going down that path, I would agree with you 100%. And I'd go with you 100% of going back to even like I say, hey, this was, like who gave us this or whatever. I'm gonna say I'll counter that with this. From a spiritual standpoint. Yeah, it would make sense that, a higher being, they want to keep you submissive and do this stuff here. But I was saying, now this is going to kind of come off the Bible a little bit, but if we came from Africa and we came here in slavery, which, whatever, and why would they, meaning those who had in slavery, all of a sudden allow us to become educated? Why would they allow us to move on in life where we now came from being their property to being able to live next door to them, marry their own, intermingle with their own and all stuff here? My answer is, just like when I go back and read about what happened in Israel, that God, through our beliefs and our faith, whatever stuff, allowed, you know, again, even though that happened, it allowed us to have that breakthrough that we came through as a race and whatever. And again, I know you're never gonna have any 100% of any, you know, people that are gonna be successful or whatever we're gonna call successful, whatever. But to be able to go through, I believe that my relationship with God or even my parents and the friend, whatever, from a spiritual standpoint, to have brought us through that point there. However, I do agree with you and understand, like I said, why would somebody who's in charge and want to stay in this, you know, why would I want to give up any of what I have and allow you to have that, whatever? And so, of course, if I'm in control and I'm the ones who's making the rules and writing stuff here, why would I ever give you the same, you know, just like when you see people like, hey man, I'm gonna bring you into this thing here and these pyramid things, whatever. Man, by the time you get to you, whatever, like, man, you gonna continue to make them, whatever, but it's not gonna be for you. So that's what I was saying. That part, I agree and I understand that.
Yeah.
So.
And just piggybacking on what you said, like, I don't think they intended for us. Like, so at first the Bible was read to us, right? Because, you know, if we came over here in slave ships, you know, take our language, take our history, you know. So now, you know, we're stupid. We got a history, we got language, but we don't speak English. We're not from here, so you know, we start from scratch. So we're gonna read this Bible to you. You can't read. We're gonna read this Bible to you. We're gonna read the part slaves obey your masters, this, that, and make you subservient. You're gonna get your reward in heaven. You know, there's a Jesus out here and or God or whatever. You're gonna get your reward in heaven. We're gonna beat you until you're dead here, but there's a God that loves you there. Right? So that was preached to us because we couldn't read. Eventually, we started sneaking and reading that stuff for ourselves, right? And then, so I don't think there was an intent, because they could have, if they would have wanted that, they could have did that. If the forefathers were so enlightened, or so whatever. I mean, this country started off on the wrong foot. Sure. All men were created equal. No, right? Not us. Right. Those are the forefathers, and this is. So we started off on the wrong foot, and y'all changed laws. Y'all can Roe versus Wade. Y'all ain't touching that one. Right. You know, y'all ain't, you know, changing that verbiage. Right. So, and then you can look at the backstory of those jokers. Like, they weren't saints, right? They were running from stuff coming here, right? Took how you discover a land when there's already, like, there's all this stuff, right? But America's great and we're rah-rah and all this crap, and that's what we think. That's what. Because we have propaganda as well. Like, we don't think, we're quick to say, oh, well, they're told propaganda. They're told, you know, oh, but, you know, we get all the truth here, you know. Hell no. Right. We're just as isolated, and we're told a narrative just the same as those other places. Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I only cut part, but I'm saying, I definitely like, so at the end of the day, like you said, what are you doing? And so let's say you're not doing any, part of what I was not doing because I didn't know anything. So now, again, I'm giving you options, of giving you something to make you think back, making you go, like you said something I loved earlier, because we were talking about it earlier, but I was talking about it a few months ago with somebody about, like, these scientists about the whole COVID thing. Like, they always question anything. Like, a scientist always wants to, a true scientist will always want his, like, he'll come up with his theory and his hypothesis, and he wants that question and whatever to be able to actually prove it is proved, whether it's whatever. Right. So when you said that, I'm like, man, I agree 100% on all of that. And again, like, so you never had to apologize that you're gonna be taken a certain way, whatever, because of course this is new, this is against the grain, whatever. So people are gonna say, oh, this guy's he's crazy, or this conspiracy, whatever. However, in reality, you understand that, like how you said, you studied people to understand that they know that the majority of people are gonna fall in line. Well, so you already know. But if there's only one person, man, that you affect from the standpoint of whatever, mission accomplished. Yeah. And again, I don't say whether they got on board or not, but just the fact that they start questioning things, the fact that they start reading for themselves, whatever, which is also stimulating whatever stuff. All of those things in itself, I think whatever will be when they ask you, well, what'd you do? And I was thinking about my story. So I'm in my mind, I'm damn near invisible. I'm not invisible yet. Like, I still feel a lot of people don't see me. So I try to take advantage of that. But then sometimes I do stuff purposely to be seen. Like, you know, wearing a damn white glove and a damn hat. Right. Being, you know, trying to be seen. Right. Because I need to be able to get attention when I need it, and blend in when I so I'm practicing all that. Sure. You know? Just looking back, like want to fit these lines is God's the seamstress that tailor-fitted my pain. So I look at my story and now I can look at it and be like, oh, that's why I'm like this. That's why I'm like that. That's why I don't remember my past, because it was a protection mechanism for me as a youngster. But maybe that's why I've been documenting stuff, because I'm not going to remember. But then that helps me on this path, because now I got documentation. I didn't know I was going to be the guy talking about all this stuff. But having come through that system, because you hear about abuse and stuff in the Catholic Church and things like that, and you don't hear about it in the Christian church. It's just as prevalent. Just as prevalent. I'm not talking about it. These, part of the intent is to show these conversations. It's not talked about. You'll see us argue till we blue in the face about Steph Curry's jump shot and EZEKIEL'S hair. Argue night and day. And we ain't talking about nothing substance. We're not talking about anything that's going to benefit future generations or anything that's. But we'll argue all day about the top 5 point guards and this, that, and the other. Bullshit. I see it all the time. Bullshit. And it's like, that's fine. That's cool. I like entertainment. But let's not lose that there's an issue that we need to look at, you know?
And I think society has gotten to a point, and again, this is me speaking for me, not putting my whatever, but I'll say in a being of sin, you know, not a being like what we think about sin, whatever. And one of the great things done was to keep us occupied with surface stuff, entertainment, right? These phones, these computer stuff. Because what does that take away from? It takes away from relationships. That's the main thing, you know. So again, as you're saying, if I was looking at, if my parents were raising me and trying to tell me about Christianity, but I watched them, and again, I understand the bigger picture that, hey, we're all human, we're all infallible, we're all gonna, but if I watched them and heard a pastor say all this stuff, and then I went home and watched how their action lined up, I would question my faith. I would question God. I would question anything in authority, because I'm seeing that, like you said, it's hypocritical. And again, here's the thing. I don't mean if my family made mistakes, because I get it, that we're all human. I don't care if you're gay. I don't agree with your lifestyle, but you're still my son. I still love you, right? And I'm going to still embrace you. I'm going to still say, at the end of the day, like, just like we can disagree about colors or Steph Curry or different teams, I can disagree with your lifestyle, but still love you, whatever. If you went out there and murdered somebody, right? I'm still gonna love you. There's a consequence for you to play whatever, but you're still my son. I'm gonna still love you, okay? And I'm gonna be, and you're gonna see it in my support. You're gonna see it in the best, you know, the best way I can show you from whatever I had with my father that passed down the other week. I knew she loved it. I knew she did because of her actions, but she never said, right? And so when I ended up talking to him years later and having some of the same issues, man, some of the same stuff, whatever, like you said, some of the stuff that we might do and suppress things because, you know, again, that's how we kind of go on in life, whatever, and so you forget it because you suppress it, then years later as an adult it comes up and this is where you're at.
Because I'm not going to fight anyone over any belief system, because my whole thing is what's more important than any belief system is who's the person that's putting their boots up. We're this book, that book, who's holding the book? Do you even know that? Do you even know who or what is holding this book? You fighting over this book, do you even know who or what's holding this book? Right. Most people don't. Right. They say, oh, well, this is Michael, this is a black man. No, I mean, that's your name, that's your skin color, like, you're more than that. Right? When you...
Those are titles or whatever, they're not layers.
Yeah, it's not who you are. Yeah. So, a lot of people don't, and I was that way too, so there was times, it's a timing thing, I understand that too. There were people that were trying to show me things earlier in my life that I was like, but then later on I was like, damn, he was right. You know, but it's a timing thing for everybody. I'm just going to show my example and just show these conversations. Because when you have these conversations, which aren't had, because you're not supposed to question that, I mean, then other people will say, oh, because we're going to talk about this book, right? But just know this book has a paper trail, right? And there's books that were included, not included. There's actually teachings that predate the 10 Commandments that we came up with. It's called Ma'at, that they just plagiarized. 10 Commandments were plagiarized from older teachings, Egyptian teachings, right? We don't know that. You know, we don't know that. We think the Bible is My uncle thought the Bible was the first book ever written. Really? But that, you know, it is what it is. But so I'm someone that's came through and been a victim of several things, right? And now it's like I'm having these conversations with these people that were trying to gaslight me, make me seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, this isn't true, right? This is history. This is history. Like, these are the things that happen. So, but they don't know that stuff. And then when you talk to them about it,
but when you talk to them, were you able to show them that it was like whatever?
Yeah.
So when they saw that, did they make them start to now say, okay?
Yeah, he was going to get back to me and never got back to me.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because there's nothing to get back to.
Right.
Most of those people that identify with those belief systems are not going to. It takes a strong-willed person to try to prove themselves wrong. Especially if you've been believing this thing for 30 years.
Yeah.
Are you really going to look at the fine-tuning and really see? Do you really want to? You know, especially if you've been out there preaching it, like not many people are going to be like, I was wrong for 30 years. Some people do.
Because you're saying, man, that would shake your whole core of whatever. You got to be willing to be strong enough to say, hey, am I open to do that? That's where, yeah. Because we don't know, right? Let's say there is a God, and let's say that they're thinking, like, when you want to say, let me find out, because what if I find out there isn't? Then what? So I guess there's some people like saying, I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah. So my story is, I started from scratch. So I went back to, I have to prove to myself, I'm an atheist. I got to prove to myself that there's a such thing as God. Mm-hmm. I don't see that Joker, and all the people that tell me about him are full of shit. Mm-hmm. So where is he? Mm-hmm. You know, okay, I don't see him. So if there is a God, then what is the evidence? So nature, none of us created nature. So right. If there was a God, then nature would be an example of his creation, right? Yeah. So I studied nature, looked at nature, looked at the intelligence behind nature that goes on all the time. There's stuff going on behind the scenes that if it stops, it stops. Like people think like there's things that are going on now that maintain this. Like intricate, fine-tuned details that just show the intelligence behind it, that if it didn't go on, this whole thing stops. Right? So it's continuously happening right now, and we're part of that creation. We're generating it as well.
How do you think it started?
Well, okay. When you say it, what?
No, I'm saying, do you think there's this an intelligent design, or do you think it just happened? Like, I'm saying, what is your? I'm trying to peel back. Like, what do you think?
So, I can't prove any of this.
No, not again. I believe God. I can't prove it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But so, to me, it's a combination of intelligent design, and evolution. Okay. It's like there's intelligence behind it, mm-hmm. and then it's also running on autopilot to a degree, to where it's just generating and creating copies of itself and evolving. Okay. But there was an initial blueprint that allowed that to happen. Okay. So I'm not doing it from a standpoint of like having a stance and whatever. I'm just trying to get, you know. Yeah. So, okay. Because and I try to look at it very simply. So a lot of our issue is our definition of God, mm-hmm. and a lot of our definition of God has been put in that book. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. Our definition of God is we've personalized and made God more human, mm-hmm. more human, mm-hmm. jealous, mm-hmm. right? What does God need to be jealous of? Mm-hmm. Right? Why would God be angry? And I don't have kids. I can't think of any reason why I would create a place to burn or torture my kid forever. I can't think of any reason. They can kill me and torture me and burn me, but I wouldn't create a place to torture someone that I love.
It said in the Bible that hell was created for Satan and his angels, which are now demons, who chose to, you know, cause war and come down here and stuff. He did not. He said, I desire that every person, every man, not just United States, that every man would be saved, whatever. And there's nothing you got to do to work it off to become saved, whatever. And I believe other than that. Now, once you become that, your life should be different, man. It should be something different. There should be something different about a person that's saying that they are a believer, then whatever. That don't mean there's something different. Like they're gonna get. We should have the same. We're gonna have the same things happen to us, which meaning, hey, you're gonna have failed relationships. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have financial difficulties. You're gonna have all those kind of things here. But what should look different is how we respond to it.
So, and I'll shut up in a little bit, but two things that that I thought were good sayings.
Okay.
So dealing with God, and God is a charged term, I know, but if God, let's say, if God is everything, God is everything, and this goes to the definition of God. If God is everything, then there's nothing that God isn't. If God is everything,
there's nothing that there's nothing that He didn't. He created everything.
I'm saying so
I don't know if God is everything. He said, you know, he spoke it when He came in. He created everything, and then He created Adam, and then He created Eve and brought her to Him. You know, put Him in the So I've never heard Him say that He is everything. He created all things. Whatever. I would want to start there so we don't.
So you would separate the creator from the creation. You don't think there's a wholeness to it?
Yeah, I definitely separate the creation from the creator. That's one of the things that people are bowing down and worshiping creation, and not the creator. So absolutely, I make a separation from that.
Okay.
So again, I don't. So that way, in case you're gonna make a statement, I'm gonna make that from my standpoint.
I got you.
So instead of saying everything, stuff.
Yeah. So that's fair.
Okay.
Now, let's say the definition of God includes creation, creator. Okay. Let's say God is everything.
Okay.
Let's say, since we can't define it, let's make it everything.
Okay.
So if it is everything, that's including you. There's nothing that is not it.
Right.
So the illusion is separation from it, if God is everything. So if you can compartmentalize.
Yeah, no. If that's the narrative that God is everything, then I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to, and I guess if you separate the creation from the creator, to point to something that's not God. If you have a definition.
I agree.
So like for instance, there was a TikTok where a Buddhist was saying the difference between a Buddhist and a Christian. A Christian is in a room by itself, and a Christian in a room by itself, there's the Christian in God. The Buddhist in a room by itself, there's just God. And that's it. It doesn't have to be, we make it simple. I mean, we make it complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Now,
I'll go back to
the complexity we add to it is what separates us.
And I'll go back to stripping titles away again. It's not based on a title, whatever, like you're a Christian or you're Buddhist, whatever. It's about your relationship with God, period. God's not gonna, whatever you want to call it, like, hey, you get a ticket in or whatever because you're a Christian. Because even if you say you're a Christian, whatever, again, He said He's gonna judge you by the fruit you bear. The things that we do in life, man, should be a byproduct of whatever. Not that I'm doing it because that's where hypocrisy comes in. It shouldn't be because I'm trying to do whatever. It should be, if I'm loving all stuff here, man, I see somebody hurting and I can help, whatever. It should be displayed in love. Am I correct? Yeah. In my own kids, whatever, I shouldn't be abusing my kids. So that's where I think, like I always say, the number one people for keeping people from becoming Christian, whatever, are Christians. Because they're always saying, I'd rather see a sermon than hear a sermon. And the other one is, I can't hear what you say because what you do speaks so loudly. So you can sit there and say all the junk you want to say. You can quote whatever. And I know a lot of people that are, you know, they can quote scripture up and down on stuff here. But their actions don't line up. And when I go back and read the Bible, there are a lot of times that Christ would call out them whatever on, you know, when you're around here, you're doing this right here. But no, man, it should all be a byproduct. I should never have to work at being nice to you, man. You know what I'm saying? I should never have to work at trying to be cordial or whatever. That don't mean I don't have bad days now, Mike. I mean, I might be a bad day, whatever I'm saying, but on a regular basis, I shouldn't have to work at doing those things. Because if it is, I got to start questioning myself, who I am.
And they're not growing. They're not growing. Like, they're still in the same spot.
Yeah.
They're still in the same spot. They have nothing to show spiritually, physically. What is the benefit of this belief system for you here in the physical? Right. You in the same rut that you were 20 years ago,
Right.
saying the same thing.
Right.
I see this. I don't want that.
Right.
I'm traveling. I'm doing all this.
Right.
In your mind, I'm going to hell.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm living.
Right.
You're in hell now.
Right. Right.
I want to be the best human I can be. Period.
I don't think, because there's no reason with the progress they made during that time when there was so much opposition, and there's way less opposition right now, that we shouldn't be way farther. And again, I know it's different opposition behind the scenes, so I'm just saying up front in your face, stuff you can do. There's no reason. But you look at it and say, even now, what's Sharpton, every time some controversial stuff, Sharpton want to be at the forefront of the thing here. And we've done that in the black community for a long time, whenever we, you know, hey, and instead of having a young brother come up and question stuff and hey, get this guy a platform, let him kind of whatever, like, no, we're gonna silence you, whatever, and this is how it's gonna be, and hey, we're the powers that be, and you go through it, and you sit in the churches, man, you got people on boards that are doggone like, hey, we're gonna get a preacher out of here, we don't like the guy. Like, what? So, again, like I said, I can go on thing and be right on point with you 100% on a whole bunch of this stuff. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And those people will be exposed.
100%.
The ones that are at the top that know better.
Yeah.
And are controlling,
sure,
manipulating their
sure,
because they've never been checked. They never had someone pull up on them and be like, hey, why you doing that?
Yeah.
And got a camera behind them, like,
yeah,
show me. I mean, Jesus stood up against the church and the state, right? During his time. The same church and state running things this time. Difference is the church included Jesus into it, incorporated his story, because they can't have someone against the church and state.
Right, right.
All right, so we're going to incorporate his story, and you're going to get your reward after this, and da.
Right.
But don't try to be like him. Don't stand up. You know, he's going to save you. You don't need to do anything.
He was a rebel.
Yeah, we don't need any more rebels. There was one rebel. He's the one and only. He'll come save you. You just deal with this church and state that he was fighting against himself. But we've incorporated his story into the church now. So now you've just created a ceiling, because I don't need to do anything because someone else is going to do it. But that person that did it was just like me and you, fighting against the same church and state. They just took his story, made him into the one and only, put him on a pedestal. I control this puppet. This is the shepherd. Everybody else is the sheep. As long as I control the shepherd, I got the flock.
Yeah.
That's the situation we're in. So, and maybe it is, I feel it is. So let's test it out. If they're really about the truth, if you're really about the truth, then what I'm saying shouldn't offend you.
No.
We should be able to have this conversation in front of your congregation.
You should be able to welcome it.
But that doesn't happen.
No, I don't.
So why doesn't that happen? So that's what needs to be seen, because these are the people that have the flock.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the behind the scenes of those, and they're so corrupt, it's systems messed up.
Hey, tell me that this don't, and I'm going down with this. You one of the few people I can tell you, they can come here and hijack my Saturday watching football and have a deep conversation.
No, we're gonna be done. Hey, I know.
And have a conversation.
I know.
So take another compliment. Now you made me take one of the trends over. But tell me it doesn't almost confirm what you're saying, that if they believe what they're believing and they know it to be true, that you would even have a problem with whatever, like, and so then it makes you say, do you not know enough to whatever, or is it that you really don't believe that and it's just something you do in control? Like, does that not,
Yeah.
that's where you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
These conversations, I think, are the ones that need to be had.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying you're right, but
No,
let's talk about it.
No, I hear you.
Let's discuss it, because not discussing it seems to be not helping us.
Yeah.
We're just sweeping stuff under the rug, a whole lot of crap.
Sure.
So we can get to football now.
I don't think we get to what y'all want to do?
Well, I mean, the thing.
So the other thing I was asking,
Hold on, she just texted again. They said they have an outlet working on it. Cox, which is the company, said they are working on the issue. But I mean, we can go somewhere around this.
Well, my question is, do y'all want to go? I just shouting at y'all. I'm saying y'all want to go. So, do y'all want to go?